Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my new home. Today was moving day, so I'm finally in what will be my home for a little while. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen my view, and it's pretty decent. I actually like if I look far ahead in the distance, I actually see the sea, which is really nice. I kind of like it. Like that's the thing. Like one of the reasons I came here was because I crave the ocean. So here we are. Hey, today I want to talk about something that I didn't think I would ever talk about, but because it's such an unknown struggle for me, but I want to talk about the fine line between like resting and simply being lazy. And over the years, with my friends, with my coaching clients, with pretty much everyone, I've had discussions about this, and I know so many people who really berate themselves, tell me that they're being lazy, that they just need somebody to kick them in the ass. And I've always been very supportive in the sense that I'm always the first person to say, I think you're being too hard on yourself. Like, I think it's probably not. Maybe you just need the rest. Maybe it's a good thing that you're resting. Maybe it's just a sign that you need a break from whatever you're going through. But as the years have gone by, I've realized that there is a very thin line between taking a rest and being just lazy. And I want to say just in quotation marks, because I do realize that for a lot of people, and especially if you work with things that come straight from the heart, sometimes being lazy has a lot to do with procrastination, and sometimes procrastination has to do with the fact that you're scared of putting out there what you want to put out there. And I think this is one of the reasons why I've never been on board when my friends and my clients talk that negatively about themselves. Like, no, I'm just being lazy. I just need somebody to, like, I just need a kick in the ass. I just need someone to hold me accountable. I always, what I hear when I hear someone say that is that there is a lack of self-worth, problems prioritizing. That's what I hear when I hear somebody talk about themselves like that. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, but it's taken me quite some time before I realized that some people actually have a tendency to do nothing. And like I said before, that is that is not a world that is known to me at all. Like, I have relaxing, taking a break, not doing anything. That's a real struggle for me, and I'm hoping that living in a country where the pace in general is slower will help me with that. This is definitely something that I'm working on. So perhaps that is one of the reasons why I never truly believed people who were really negative about the fact that they were not doing anything. And I always assumed that they were doing more than they told me they were doing, and they're just on their own bedside. And it is true that what I often find in a lot of my clients is that they tell me that they haven't done anything, but I work with weekly tracking sheets. So what I often see is that my clients at some point realize, oh, wait a second, when we were emailing about this, or when we were talking about this, I told you that I was really disappointed with what I did this week, but actually now I look back at the goals that I set and what I actually did, I actually did pretty okay. I forgot about this and this. So this is one of the reasons why it's very hard for me to believe that some people are actually just lazy. And like I said, I do believe that laziness can be a very good thing. But once it becomes connected to procrastination, I always want to know what the laziness is coming from. Because why are you in your own way? Why are you, what is preventing you from actually doing the work? Is it because you're afraid of the results? Are you afraid you won't be able to do it? Like pull it off, like literally, like could I actually make what I have in my mind? Like, can I do that? Am I worth doing this? Am I ready to put myself out there like that? There are like a tons of reasons why people stop doing what they're doing and instead, in not knowing how to proceed now, do nothing and then call themselves lazy. And for those people, I would rather not call them lazy. I would say something like, you're just in your own way. There's a reason why you're not doing this. So like I said, like this is, I'm still curious because being lazy and taking a rest, that's actually not a bad thing. Like it's good. Like we need to rest. Like we need to take the time to fill that creative well. And this is absolutely not something that I'm really good at, but I do know the importance of it, and that's why I'm working on it. Like I do know how necessary it is to take that step back, and I have that as well. Like the other day, when was it? I can't remember which day it was, but I was at this Airbnb, and I only had sun in the morning on the balcony, and the rest of the day it was actually quite cold in the house. So in the mornings, I was determined I would work outside on the balcony, and then in the afternoon I would go for a walk, and just soak up the sun in that way. And this morning I hadn't charged my laptop, so I couldn't actually take my laptop outside and write. I was working on my NaNoWriMo project. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go outside anyway. I'm just gonna, take my breakfast, take my tea, go outside anyway, and just sit and just do whatever comes up. And that's actually when new ideas started flowing. So I do know the importance of taking a break because you give your mind a rest. And in that moment, new things can arise that you didn't make the space for yet. So rest is important, but then well, where's the balance between, and this is why I wanted to talk about this, like when you take a rest, I have to believe my clients when they say, there is like, I just had a coaching session last weekend with a client, and she said, like for me, it's either I work like super focused and I get all the things done, or I do absolutely nothing. There is no in between. So either I do everything and I'm punctual and I communicate well and I get more work done than normal people can envision getting done in a day, or it's just I'm just doing like nothing comes out of me. And that was actually the moment when I realized, oh wait, some people actually have that. And for her, it wasn't in a good way. So it wasn't balanced at all. When she went from doing all the work to not doing anything, the not doing anything was actually a destructive thing. Because in that, she stopped communicating with her clients. She stopped communicating, like she stopped doing the work she was supposed to do. She was just like, it's not doing it. And this is why it's important to realize, so when are you taking, or to ask yourself, so when are you taking a rest? Like when are you like filling that creative well? When is it self-care? And you can be lazy as self-care. Like you can take it, like the art of doing nothing is an art I one day hope to understand. Like to just really do nothing and just be okay with that. Literally, like I cannot imagine what it's like to do nothing. Like my mind always needs something to be occupied with, and I know that's not necessarily a good thing. So one day I hope to understand how that functions. So you can be lazy as like as a self-care practice. But when does the laziness become actual laziness, like how we see it in today's culture, like something that is not something to be proud of, something that's actually has a negative impact on your work, on what you're doing, on your rhythm, on your process. So yeah, like I said, I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that some people have an innate tendency to do nothing, and I think it's part me being a little jealous of that. Like I want to know what that's like, and also it's so not familiar to me. Like I have like that has never happened to me ever before, which is interesting. Like we could probably analyze that as well. But yeah, having to come to terms with the fact that maybe some people do need a little kick in the ass, while some people need to be told it's okay. Like the best analogy for me would be years ago I used to go to the gym like 4 times a week or so, and when I say years ago I mean years ago. I was still a student at the time, so yeah, a long time ago. And I went with my mother, and it was actually a gym very close to her house. So we I just cycled to her place, then we went to the gym together. But I hated it. I really hated it because the gym just gives me the feeling. Same with classes. Same with classes you can take at gyms like Zumba or aerobics, whatever they have these days. They always made me feel really bad about myself, because somebody was there in front of me, and the same goes, the same vibe and the same atmosphere you have in a gym, that people were just like, you have to push yourself, you have to go, like you have to find your limits, and you need to go, like you have to push it further. And I was like, this doesn't make me happy. So after years, it took me years to realize this is really making me happy. So I stopped. And that's when while after I discovered yoga. And that really worked for me because, like I said, I am a workaholic. So I am my own person going, like I whip myself into shape all day long. Like it's never enough. And I know that I am working on that. But I can be really mean to myself, and I've come a long way. I'm not half as nasty and a workaholic as I was 2 or 3 years ago. So I have come a long way. But it was in yoga that I found the peace and quiet that I needed, because somebody told me, like in the initial meditation at the beginning, like I remember my first yoga class, the woman teaching the class was like, you don't need to do anything anymore. This is it. Like right now, all you have to do is breathe. And that is what I needed. So it's interesting for me, also as a coach, to find out like who needs that, who needs the pat on the back, and that goes with you've done enough. Right now, you don't need to do anything, which is my regular approach. Like when my clients start to talk really badly about themselves, my regular approach is, but you're doing enough. Maybe what you're doing right now is what you can do, and it's enough, okay? It's counterproductive to become nasty about it, because when you do that, like, it turns into not valuing yourself, issues of self-worth, etc. And then I just envision somebody no longer doing the work because they lose self-confidence. I see this whole path in front of me, a path that I know. But then, of course, there will be people, that's what I'm realizing now, who actually need to be held accountable, who don't have this innate ability to keep themselves accountable, which is something that I'm a very disciplined person, so I am my own accountability person. Other people actually need that sort of external push to keep going. So for me, that's been very interesting journey, so to say, in the past few years, and that I'm just realizing now that even though I still believe that if you have particular kinds of laziness, their source So the laziness becomes like the symptom, but the cause is actually lack of self-worth, not valuing what you're doing, fear of not being able to pull off what you want to make, fear of putting yourself out there. Anything can hold you back, and laziness is the same thing. It's one of the symptoms for that, always for me. But I'm only just now coming to terms that not everyone needs the pat on the back. Some people need a little push, sometimes a little harder push, to still get out of their own way and go, yes, I realize. So even if the underlying cause is the same, some people need a different approach to that. And that's, for me, that's something that I'm just learning to understand. So this is what I want to talk about today. That there is a fine line between taking care of yourself, so taking a rest, and being actually lazy in a very unproductive, counterproductive, maybe even destructive kind of way. And I think it's always good to ask yourself, when you do take a rest, when you do take a break from what you're doing, to keep conscious and make sure you don't slip into, right now I'm just not doing the work because whatever underlying cause, or maybe just because you are being lazy and you don't want to do the work. Because I've heard it does happen. Apparently people can be lazy. If you want to explain to me how that works, please do, because I could use a little advice there. Okay, so I hope this was useful, and like, if you want to be updated on my new adventures in my new place, follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link up in the comments, and I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you next week in the next live. Have a good, it's late here, so I'm gonna test my new bed. Have a good night. Bye bye.